Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out Gone Home by the Fulbright Company. This is an experimental first-person narrative-driven experience and one that I think I've been waiting for something like this to come along for the longest time, and I think this is exactly what I've been looking for. It's sort of like a simulatory, explore an environment and have the context tell a story for you. I mean, there is obviously some story directly injected in as well, but I think the majority of it comes from experientially learning from your environment and exploring a house, and I don't want to spoil the setup here, so I should probably just get right into things. But before I do that, I'm going to run into the options menu and just show you what's in there. So we've got pretty detailed graphics quality options, a whole bunch of things we can tweak here if necessary. Including a field of view slider, which I know is a pretty important thing for a lot of people. We've got some controls options, mouse sensitivity, crouch style. You can make toggle, sticky targeting, mouse smoothing, all kinds of stuff, and then back out. We can even do gamepad controls, I believe it said in there. All of our individual sound volume sliders, gameplay, show training messages, head bob, show a reticle, which is useful if you want to find the center of the screen, disable interaction highlight so you can see when objects are in front of you, or just have it be a little bit more like a simulation where you just discover them on your own. And then we've got language options. Right now the only language seems to be English. Overlay text, I assume when there's text written, like handwritten text in the environment, it would probably put digitized font text over it, I suppose that's what that means. And display subtitles, which, I always like to have on in case I accidentally talk over something. So I will point out, of course, the introduction, this title screen here, quite a lovely graphical presentation, a beautiful piece of art, and I think it sets the tone quite well for what's going to be a really interesting experience. So let's start a new game, and I will be quiet for a moment and let the voice acting do the work. So I'll catch you right after that.
Hi, Mom. So I got my ticket home from Europe. I get back on June 6th, but it's a really late flight because that was the cheapest, so it gets in at midnight. But don't worry, I'll get a shuttle from the airport so you don't have to pick me up. Like, really seriously, you don't have to. Okay, so, love you. See you soon. Bye.
So with that, there is our title card, Gone Home, in a lovely hand-drawn style. I think that's a thing that pervades the art style in this whole game. Everything has a very hand-drawn, homespun type of feel to it. And it definitely lends to the organic nature of the way you discover the game. And with that, we now have control of our protagonist here, who we can tell by reading this tag, whose name is Caitlin Greenbrier. Destination Portland, so that's where we are, flight number 270, and the date of June 6, 1995. So contextually, we've already set up a whole scenario here without even knowing hardly anything about what's going on. So we've arrived, we're in our porch. You see it's obviously pouring rain outside, and I don't know, it gives a little bit of a creepy atmosphere, I suppose, at this point, although, things feel pretty normal. But upon walking up to the door, we'll see there is a note here, which we're going to use another really nice little trait here. Use right mouse or left shift to look closer, so it's actually contextually giving you pointers in a way that is so natural that you wouldn't even think that you're being tutorialized to. So, Katie, I'm sorry I can't be there to see you, but it is impossible. Please, please don't go digging around trying to find out where I am. I don't want Mom and Dad scratched out to anyone to know. We'll see each other again someday. Don't be worried. I love you, Sam. Also kind of looks like it says 5 a.m., but, probably Sam. So that's pretty creepy. That's definitely not a thing that you expect to see when you come home from being abroad for a year, I believe it is. We've got indications saying we're in Europe, and we're in Portland now. And let's see if we can go inside. The door is indeed locked on both sides. So not only is there no one to pick me up from the airport, nobody to greet me at my home either. And thusly we have our premise. So the entire game, as far as I know, revolves around discovering what's gone on and reading into all the things that go on in this house, from what you can tell just from the objects and the way things are set up. So we will begin our exploration here by just messing around with some objects. I know almost nothing about this from my sound testing. All I've gotten so far was I've gotten the key to open up this door, so I know that much at least. But other than that, it's all a mystery to me. And you'll see this cupboard here is slightly ajar. We can turn this lamp on. And you'll notice also some really lovely and very granular and detailed effects. Obviously the shaders of the rain going on the window, some very subtle lighting effects. Even these lanterns here on the porch have some very subtle effects to them. You'll see they actually cast a little bit of light from both sides. The glass has a very nice quality to it as well. And really everything looks lovely. I mean, look at the ground here. We've got some like lightning coming through. The window panes here showing up on the ground. So let's actually get into things. Can I mess with this plug? No, it's a little bit too detailed. But I think where this game is going to shine is it's going to allow us to really mess around with stuff that you probably aren't used to seeing that level of control over in-game. So there's our key. And the house key is now added to my backpack. Is there anything I can do with the door I came in from? No. Which makes me wonder, like, oh, I'm going to open this and then, like, Resident Evil-style tentacles would come. No, it's not that kind of game, which I like, actually. I like that a lot. You know, I really relish in the fact that there's now starting to become some sort of a prevalent theme in that people feel comfortable making experiences that are quite grand out of what could have been mediocre, sort of average-style moments in life, because that's a lot of the times where the real details in our lives come from, is the moments that we're not really thinking about too hard. You know, it's not always from the explosive, crazy situations we get into, but just like the little meaningful stuff, and I think it's really cool that games are getting to that level. So let's go inside the door. Okay, I figured there'd be a loading screen here, but I'm happy to find out there isn't. Alright, that's certainly a bit creepy. I guess we'll just leave our stuff out there for now. I didn't really expect a light would turn on, and there seems to be an alarm system. Oh no, it's just a smoke detector up there on the ceiling, and everything is recognizable. So we're going to be able to look around on all the shelves, turn on the lights, open up all the drawers, and just to do some exploring. So we're going to see what's going on in this house. A very lovely house, I have to say, too. I'd be very happy to come home to a house like this. So we've got a whole bunch of letters strewn around. I mean, this is kind of how I think most houses are. When you walk into them, there's always some place that... Whoa, lightning. Or thunder, rather. There's always some place that, like, all the papers show up on. Alright, we've got a map here. Directions to work from new house. Left on Crabtree or Grabtree. Right on Bullhorn, exit onto 47 North, right onto 202 East. Entrance on right past Wage Road. Travel time 1 hour 10 minutes. Oh, and then exclamation points. Or question mark, exclamation point. Question mark? Question mark. Anything in the bottom drawer here? Looks like nothing I can really interact with. I was tempted at first to turn the reticle off, but I think it's kind of useful when you use it in conjunction with the fact that these items will light up if you pass over them. Things that are interactable you will be able to see quite obviously. Is there anything here to give anything away? You know, it's mostly detailed enough that you can read it, but it's like just a little bit too dithered in that case. I'll leave all the lights on because I think we're going to want it. What's going on over here? We got a few boxes. So clearly they're moving into this place. It's still a relatively new house. Read invoice. I thought that said boxes kitten for a second. There's a box of kittens here. Alright, so what is this? Wellspring Movers. Alright, so this is the invoice for the movers and their fees. That is pretty expensive. Overweight library quantity. Okay, so we're getting an idea of what should be in the house based on this invoice. So that's going to be an interesting thing to keep in mind. You know, what exactly is it that we're moving here? These televisions are definitely small, so I can't imagine getting charged too much for that. Continued on attached worksheets.
Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school. And my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't feel real. But I'm not gonna let it faze me. I used to tell you everything, and if I can't do it in person, because you're off gallivanting around who knows where, I'll tell it to this journal. Just like I was talking to you.
Alright, that's cool. So now we understand who that was. I guess Sam was our younger sister, or is our younger sister. And we're going to find out new information about things based on journals that we're going to discover. And I probably don't need to do that, so let's leave that where it is. Okay, we got a flushable toilet. Always an important thing in games. Author magazine, Stephen King, 50 kind of, so clearly a literary family. People who care about reading and writing and have a little bit of something to say. Well-spoken people. Probably not inclined to make particularly rash moves one way or the other. Sam, Katie, Mom, and Dad. Alright, so there's us in the top middle there. Sam's making a bit of a menacing face there, actually. And we'll just continue to look around a bit. Another note here. Sam Daniel from the old neighborhood called. He wants to come see the new house. Call him back. Mom, Daniel's a total weirdo. The only reason I ever hang out with him in the first place, he had Nintendo when we were little. And there's going to inevitably be a bunch of messages, which will be an obvious thing to want to listen to.
Sam. Sam. Hello. Sam.
Where are you? Really? I need to talk to you. Please be there. Hi, Mom. So I got my ticket home from Europe. I get back on June 6th, but it's a really late flight because that was the cheapest.
Wow.
It gets in at midnight.
That's pretty
But don't
dramatic.
worry, I'll get a shuttle from the airport so you don't have to.
Alright, so there's our message that opened up the game.
You don't have to. Okay, so love you. See you soon. Bye.
And probably fitting that I mention this just in case it does show up on the recording, but right when I started playing this game, it started torrentially raining outside, so if you can hear what sounds like a little bit of extra white noise, that's not necessarily coming from the game, but it could be because it also happens to be raining in that world as well. So I guess quite fitting. Alright, what's going on in here? Closet still needs a bit of unpacking, not a whole bunch to see. There's a board game. Can examine Over the Alps, a novel traveling game. Alright, so clearly a worldly family as well. They're well-read, they travel. And I'll just leave that here because there's not a whole bunch else to see. So we're assembling, as you can tell, all these little bits and pieces about this family and their life together just based on context. And I think this is a really charming and lovely way to present a story because it lets us discover it at our own pace. So it's not like it's being force-fed to us. Although there are moments a little bit more in that vein as well, just based on like the way that answering machine message was. But it doesn't feel forced because obviously I could walk away at any time, but you know, it does deliver a little bit more directed information to us. I'll just sort of read through this real quick to myself. I'm not sure. So a little bit freshman year. Alright, so it's probably a letter. Okay, it sounds like somebody writing to the mom, I suppose. Although I sort of skimmed over it pretty quickly. Trophy, anything with that can I examine? Oh, what did I just miss there? There we go. Regional Track and Field Finals, April 22nd, 1991. Girls Long Jump Event, Caitlin, first place. Wow. Not bad. Alright, so we've got one of those Mexican Day of the Dead skulls. Alright, so I guess I'm a bit athletic as well. That book seems like I can do something with it, but apparently not. I guess I should probably just leave some of this stuff open, that way I don't forget what I've looked at. So that door's locked. Can you imagine they went back and remade like the original Resident Evil to be more like this? I mean, how creepy would that be, discovering like an honest-to-goodness horror moment? I'm not sure if this game's going to become a horror thing. It may be. But it definitely has my attention one way or the other. Read a personal calendar. I kind of wish some of this stuff was relegated to a little bit later in, because right now I just got into this environment, right? So I want to sort of look around and take in the sights a little bit more before I get too involved with the minutia. Although I'm not really sure if there's a good, like, decent way to progress gate that kind of thing off. I think it might not necessarily be possible. Pick up cassette case. What is this? Oh, I think that's important.
It's weird hanging out with girls. Daniel was around ever since I was little, and other girls? I don't know. But being around Lonnie is like instantly just right. I gave her the grand Psycho House tour and took my revenge on Super Nintendo. And it was like, I don't know, I finally found someone I feel normal around. I drove her home and she gave me this tape and said, "You have got to listen to this." I haven't stopped playing it since.
Oh no, did I just break it? I thought the... Oh, it looked like the top broke off when I threw it down. There's not really a way to elegantly place objects in the environment as far as I can tell. Wow, this is a freaking nice house. Alright, so whose room is this? Let's turn on the lights first off. I act like I've never been in a house before, and I walk in here, I'm like, I don't know, what do I do about this? Oh, this is interesting. So there used to be... Now, this is actually quite amazing, because they actually modeled the cords from the actual Super Nintendo. Like, I have those cords, I know what they look like, and that is pretty wild. And, of course, the cartridge to, you know, drive that point home. Adventurous the Cat returns. And it's a little bit off-centered, too. Is this an analog for, like, Bubsy or something? Quite cute, regardless. I don't want to throw it around. Oh, and we've got Chun-Li moves. Everybody had these. It's funny, there was a point when we kind of stopped writing things down. I guess it was like when game FAQs became very popular. Although then I guess you could print them out. Alright, so is this my room or is this my sister's room? I'm thinking by the lack of the Super Nintendo, it's making me wonder if maybe I took that with me. I'm sure there will be evidence here. Groove magazine. I'm trying to just sort of extrapolate some of this information here. Definitely a bit on the messy side, but there's a plate here, which is probably not something that should be here if I've been gone for a year. I'm gonna say maybe this is the sisters. Alright, where is the light? There we go. Yeah, by the door, like some rooms have been. Alright, so everything's thrown around. But there is also the fact of, like, where's the family at, right? So I should probably be considering that as well. In that, you know, some of this stuff might not be the way it was left. This seems a bit more likely to be the more grown-up daughter's room, aka my own. Grab postcard. Oh, maybe this is the parents' room? Yeah, I guess that could be. Oh, I didn't realize this would loop around like that. Oh, goodness. Is that blood? Well, that's not good. Oh. Wow. Hair color. Yeah, well done, well played.
Today. She said, "I need to fix these roots. Think you could help?" Dyeing hair is weirdly intimate. I don't know if I've touched someone else's scalp before. It's pretty intimate, right? It felt intimate. We looked into the mirror together after, and I expected her to say something about how it looked crappy, or good, or whatever. But that's when she said, "You're so beautiful." And she was looking at me. Right in that moment, I wanted to say something, but I waited. And the moment was gone.
Oh my goodness, so now we're having a moment about Pulp Fiction in this note. This is really cool. This is such a cool idea for a game. I'm so excited to keep playing more of this. I am sort of curious about where it goes, and I don't necessarily want to spoil anything. So I'm kind of wondering at what point I should probably, you know, wrap things up here. Because I think you get the premise. Because I'm sort of just broadly running through all the rooms. What is this? Sam's dark room. Do not enter if red lights are on. Well, the red lights are on, but nobody's home, so what does that mean? Pretty sure I'm going to go in there and see what's going on. Alright, one would think... Oh, there's all these mysterious rooms over here. One would think that probably this could have been my bedroom, and then they took the bed out because, you know, you're not there for a year. Or, I don't know, but maybe they moved while you were gone? I guess, yeah, that probably is what happened, actually. They moved while you were away, and this is the first time you've ever seen this house in the first place as well, so it's like a totally new place for everyone. That is a very good setup, I have to say, although it's a little bit sad of me to take this long to figure it out. Where is... I just saw a cassette tape a second ago, and then I saw a player for it. Yeah, let's check that out. Oh, is that... I think that's actually the mixtape. Oop. Just let that play for a moment, I suppose. There's probably something pretty interesting and useful on there, but at the same time, I sort of don't want to risk getting a copyright strike. I'm not sure where that music came from, so for the safety of my channel, I'm going to be a little hesitant about it. Okay, of course that's locked. You know, it's really interesting how you can go from, this is such a familiar environment, yet it's also so foreign at the same time. And this is certainly like a more elaborate house than I think most people are used to. Oh, well, here we go. Didn't even notice that bed over there. Alright, so I'm really bad at constructing the virtual narrative on my own here, but hopefully over time I would have put that together. But I'm getting worried about what's going on with this family. King's Labyrinth. There's a lot of information to go through here, and it's definitely well, it's not really the best thing to probably want to go through live, but at the same time I think we're getting a decent idea of what to expect here. And this upstairs is really big. Was there anything else on the ground floor that I could look around? Where even were the stairs to get back down? Is there a run button? No, I don't think so. Surprisingly windy hallways. I kind of like to have seen this from the outside. The grand staircase also. Press 2 or M to check your location in the house. Alright. Up floor. Oh, okay, well that's one way to find out. Alright, cool. So now we have a good idea of what's going on with that. And there was also an item tab here on the left, which I kind of want to check out. Our passport, boarding pass, and that one key under the old Christmas duck that let us in. Did I try this door? I'm not sure I did. No, I did not. Oh my goodness, and there's even more going on over here. So, like, who are your parents in this case? Like, what is their job? Because it seems like they obviously can afford a pretty nice place to live. There's all kinds of information I'm sure that we'll be pouring over. Right now, I'm just sort of enjoying opening all the doors and seeing what we find in here. Oh, we've got a study, it looks like, of some sort. Or an office. I also really appreciate the fact that this is set firmly in the proper time period. Okay, here would be the 10 boxes of library books. That is nice. I think it's a lot of people's dream is to have a library like this. There's like these luminescent tissues over here. And what's going on over here? We got a bulletin board. Is there some sort of a conspiracy theory unraveling? What if JFK wasn't JFK? Oh my goodness. I did see that I Want to Believe poster on the sisters' door, or wall rather. Oh, well, this is not what I expected to find when I walked in here. Alright, so it looks like people were very recently here and had to leave very quickly. And then there's like a bunch of electronics missing, which is not the most obvious thing. Stormwatch. I guess we'll turn the TV off. Hauntings and Poltergeist. We've got a pillow fort. How much younger is the sister? It seems like she has to be substantially younger. I guess we could see her from that picture, right? She probably wouldn't have a pillow fort, and clearly we're supposed to set up another cassette moment here. A VHS tape looks very large, actually. A newspaper. Maybe we could light a fire. I don't know if that's a thing we'd want to do. Oh, let's look at this matchbook. Alright, they're all used anyway. And yet more rooms, my goodness. You're gonna have your work cut out for it if you want to explore this place. Oh, cute little bar over here. More books. This is seriously a treasure trove of information to look through, and this is such an exciting promise for a game. I know I just keep saying that, but it's like, it seriously is a game that I felt like I've needed to play for a long time. And I'm glad to finally have the chance to take a look at it. You know, I discovered this a while back, and I don't even remember where. Maybe it was a Reddit post, or maybe I just happened to run into it on some random thread somewhere of something. And as soon as I saw what the concept of the game was about, I knew this was like, alright, if this goes as big as it needs to go, it is definitely going to be engaging enough to hold my attention for a long time. And I don't disagree with that assertion. So I'm pretty sure the key to progression is going to lie with hanging out in my sister's room at some point. Because there's still a lot of stuff I just glossed over that I didn't really mess with. But I don't want to spoil anything of the game, so I do want to encourage you guys to go check it out for yourself. As of the time of this video going up, it should be available right now on Steam, so I'm going to urge you guys to head on over to my description so you can go click on the link and see for yourself. I have a feeling by now you should probably have a pretty good idea about if this is the type of thing that you would want to play yourself. And if you've hung around on my channel long enough, you know, I imagine probably quite a few of you would, because it's more of an introspective type of game than we usually cover, but it's definitely like in the top tier of the types of things I like to find when I'm looking for indie games. Things that are thoughtful, things that really take a different angle on stuff, and this really does do that. So even though I was a bit... What does that say? Snuggy scale... Steggy. Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of a different angle on the types of games that I usually look at, but this is a more fully realized one than I probably would have even expected, and I mean, I didn't really set any expectations when I was walking into things, but I feel like this was really well done and well put together. The level of polish on everything so far has been very, very high. And I really think the narrative, the voice acting, the sound design, the graphics, all of it really comes together into one of those cohesive packages you hear me talk about so often if you've watched all my videos. It seems to come up all the time. And there's some really good subtle cues. Like, I mean, what I saw before with the bathtub with the little bits of hair dye on, I was like, oh, geez, is this where we're going? And then it wasn't necessarily. And then we've got this red foreboding situation over here. We don't know if there's going to be something supernatural going on. We don't know if anyone's in danger. We don't know if the whole thing is just a misunderstanding. It's all possible. And this is the kind of information that we're going to hopefully divulge, or figure out as the game divulges the information, rather, little by little. Oh, wow. Sewing machine in there. All the animations, too, are really nice. Everything seems really well thought out and well done. Can I see the light through the wall? Is that what's going on there? Kind of looks a little bit like that's what's going on, but who cares? A pretty nitpicky thing to say. It's probably like sneaking through this corner or something. But yeah, I'm curious to get the key and head up there. Anyway, I think we will wrap things up. So obviously, a very, very highly recommended game. Gone Home. Go check it out. It's on Steam. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your own perspective on what you think this game's about, where they're going with the story. Did I really just pass up this note that was on the bottom there? Katie, Mom and Dad were going to make up the guest room for you to stay in over the summer, but you came home on such short notice that they weren't around to do it. You can use my room if you want. I won't be needing it anymore. Whoa. Well, I don't know how menacing that is. It could be very menacing, but at the same time, given the right bit of information, I don't know, probably isn't. But I don't know. It's all totally up in the air. Why are all the drawers flung out? Why is everybody missing? Hopefully we can figure this information out. So again, go check it out. Available right now. And let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very curious to hear your opinions. And that's going to pretty much do it for our episode today, so hopefully you'll let me know. Be sure to stick around. New episodes every single day, and be sure to check out my website as well, indie-impressions.com, as well as my other social media links like my Facebook, my Twitter. And feel free to get in contact with me anytime. If you're an indie dev and you want to recommend your game for coverage on the channel, feel free to go click around and send me either a build if you can, or if you want to just get in contact with me, send me an email through the contact form, or just send me a tweet. That's fine too. Whatever, I'm not picky. So that is going to do it, guys. Hope you'll come back again tomorrow, and I hope you have a lovely night. Thanks so much for hanging out. Talk to you later.